Now that we have spent some time studying narrative essays and talking about the structure of narrative arguments, it's time for you to write your own. So, your first major essay assignment is going to be due on September 27th. That's a Sunday, and it's due at our usual 11:59 p.m. deadline. However, for this week's discussion board, I'm asking you to turn in a draft of that narrative essay assignment. Now, when I say draft, I don't expect you to have a complete narrative essay done. However, I am looking to see that you've made substantial progress. So, what substantial progress means is we're looking for about 2 to 3 pages double spaced in MLA format that gives us the beginning of that narrative essay. So, let's get into a discussion of what that assignment is and what the expectations are and how to make sure that you get the best grade possible. So, looking back, we've read a number of essays. We've read Jamaica Kincaid's Girl. We've read Manuel Munez's Leave Your Name at the Border. We've read Gillian Weiss's Why I Own a Gun and Langston Hughes's Salvation. And each one of these narrative essays really captures a tension. And that tension is often responding to the pressures that exist between family or cultural expectations and the expectations of the rest of the world. Oftentimes, our families or our individual identities are not accepted or easily absorbed into the broader context of American culture, and this can create discomfort. But it also says something about the narrow limits of what is socially accepted behavior or identity. So, what's your task? Your task is to write a 5 to 7 page narrative that captures a tension associated with your identity. You can choose to write about a tension that takes place within the family, like Jamaica Kincaid or Langston Hughes, or you can talk about a tension that exists between your cultural or personal identity and the broader society that we live in, like Munez or Weiss does. Some suggestions of things you might write about. These can be narratives about religion, school, political beliefs or practices, work, etc. Really anything. And there's a couple of different ways that you can structure this narrative. In other videos in the Week 4 folder, I've talked about the structure of the student example that you find in your Rules for Writers textbook. In that example, we get a long narrative followed by a reflection or an argument. Also, the other example we can look at is Gillian Weiss's Why I Own a Gun, which instead of giving a full narrative and then moving to an argument, there's a back and forth between several anecdotes that help to illustrate her overall argument. Down below is your text archive. These are examples of essays that you may want to return to and look at again for inspiration or just to think about how the author is achieving their goal. Under requirements, there's some information about how you'll be graded. This essay should be focused on a single event or related events. I don't want you writing about your entire life, but I want you to pick a couple of key moments that help you to illustrate the point that you want to make, or one key moment or period of time that helps you to illustrate the point that you're trying to make. The introduction to your essay should be engaging. Check out the information on how to write strong introductions that are on the blackboard. The paragraph should have clear topic sentences as well as adequate and relevant support. We want to make sure that you've given enough details to help us understand what's happening and also to paint a vivid picture that captures the reader's attention. Paragraphs should use appropriate transition words. Think about your time order words or listing order. The essay should include either a reflection or an argument. That's the piece where you raise your question or you raise the point you're trying to make. We're not just telling a story for the sake of telling a story, but we're telling a story because we want our reader to think about something or we want to convince our reader of our point of view. The essay should, of course, be free of any errors, spelling, capitalization errors, errors with run-on sentences, sentence fragments. It should be typed and in MLA format. And you also want to try your hand at using some parallelism. Not a requirement, but try it out. Below, you'll find a rubric that I would encourage you to look over before you begin writing, because it'll help you get a sense of what I'm going to be looking for when I'm grading. Of course, as usual, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'm happy to set up a virtual appointment or to look at a draft as you work on it. I look forward to reading the drafts of your narrative essays and the polished ones when they're complete.